Yo, what's going on? Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, as always, I greatly appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day as we dive into the latest Philadelphia Eagles news, rumors, analysis, and a whole lot more live here on the show. It's a beautiful Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. And I always love chopping it up and hanging out with the Bird Gang. The same can be said for my right-hand man in producer Chip. And here's everything that we have in store coming up on the Eagles Now rundown. Howie Roseman and the Birds making a few roster moves. We have an interesting report from Jay Glazer about the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown dynamic, but also a meeting that happened after the bye week. We have some good Eagles news to get to. That's going to get some fans excited. Does Philadelphia and this number one defense have two Defensive Player of the Year candidates? And we'll round out with the mailbag. Start getting those questions in right now. It's never too early. You just don't want to be late to the game. Use hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. Programming reminder for everybody watching right now, we go live for every single Eagles game. Why would we stop now? You think we're taking a Christmas break? Eagles Commanders watch party coming your way this upcoming Sunday, Week 16. Birds win. They win the NFC East. We will be live with an hour pregame show beginning at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. 134 people hanging out. Some more people will continue to get that notification. They'll find us on YouTube. They'll pile in. But let's start off with this. Where are you watching from? Coming to you from Studio H in the Chat Sports Studios. We're undergoing office renovations, but the content has to go on. I see Trey Losato is in Virginia. Hunter Esper, Michigan. Good old Melbourne from Cool Rains. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Alex. Satellite Beach, Florida. Dennis Designs. Getting close to Christmas and playoffs. Yeah. Getting ready for that Super Bowl run. Yeah. Hunter Esper, Michigan. Continue to let us know where you're watching from. Julius Fountain. I'm going to pretend that Chase is doing this stream for my birthday, all right? Julius, happy birthday to you. Have a great birthday. Here's our Super Chat menu. Let's have some fun here today. All Super Chats get a shout out. Every $50 total that we get, we're going to do the Eagles chant, and because we're undergoing office renovations, a lot of our office is to my left. Let's make them go crazy. Let's distract them a little bit. Let's be obnoxious because we're from Philadelphia. If we reach $100 in total Super Chats, Chip and I will sing Fly Eagles Fly. If we reach $150, we will sing No One Likes Us, We Don't Care. And if we get past $200 in Super Chats, I'm going to bring on a new person here at Chat Sports. Could be the new girl, and we are going to do a freedom funnel for the new person. All we have to do is get past $200 in Super Chats, and you'll see a new face come on the show and take down that freedom funnel. Our sponsor for today's Eagles Now Live, our friends at Game Time. Holiday season is coming up. You know, it's the perfect gift. Tickets to a concert, comedy show, theater event, or how about a sporting event? With Game Time, they specialize in last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. They have flash deals and zone deals. And with the holidays coming up, if you download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS. Terms apply. First purchase only. You'll save $20 while getting a very good gift. Eagles Commanders coming up this weekend. Birds hitting the road. If you want to go to that game, plenty of tickets available. Then the Eagles will return home for their final two games of the year against the Cowboys and against the Giants. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. What time is it? Game Time. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we will be doing a mailbag here on the show as well, so get your questions in. Use the hashtag Eagles, or better yet, send in a super chat. And before we start our show, officially, we have 152 people watching right now. Only 40 likes. Do you want to support the show for free? Do you want some more Eagles fans piling into the stream? If that is the case and you want to help us out, all you got to do, a little tap on that thumbs up icon, And the more likes that we get, the more people who discover the stream, and the more fun that we will have.
Yes,
Chip, they got to do it.
Got to do it to them. By the way, I got to show something off to the people.
Put yourself double box.
Or
just come on full screen, whatever you want to do.
We'll go a little double box.
Double box.
Got to show this off to the people because for an early Christmas gift, I begged my girlfriend, Allie, to get me this exciting white shirt, and it finally came yesterday, so I said, I got to wear it for Eagles Live on Wednesday, so here it is.
Exciting whites.
Look at that, baby.
Cooper DeJean, Reed Blankenship. They both rocked that shirt going to an Eagles game a little bit earlier this year. Chip saw that and said, girl, I know what my Christmas gift is going to be.
Had to get it. It's clean. It looks good.
Looks awesome.
It's fire.
Go Birds. Get those super chats in. We get to 200 total. We're bringing on a new person. They got to take down the Freedom Funnel. So it's up to you if you want to do all of that. All right, 60 likes right now on the stream. Continue to smash that thumbs up icon. Like the video. Recent commenter club. I see Cool Rains, Trey Lusato, Football Frenzy, Joshua Smalley, Hunter Esper, Anthony Byers, Kevin Gordon, Dennis Designs. Thanks for supporting the show. Segment number 1. Eagles making a couple of roster moves. That and a whole lot more. Eric Camper, Chase, it's Jackson. Went to my first Eagles game against Pittsburgh, got the dub. Now tickets for Washington versus Philly. LFG, go Birds. Bro, you're living it up. That's good stuff right there. All right, are you ready to talk some Eagles right now? You ready to have some fun? You want to be informed and entertained? It's good news. Show starts right now. Let's go. Hey there, welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. And here's what's coming up on the Eagles Now rundown. The Birds making a couple of roster moves that we're going to discuss, and an interesting Eagles report from Fox NFL insider Jay Glazer. Before we dive in, we appreciate you all throughout this week as we're sitting here on this Wednesday, December 18th. Every show that I've done, I've mentioned the fact that we are getting so close to 95,000 subscribers. Well, overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday, thanks to your work all week and you supporting this show, we surpassed 95K. Once we get to 100,000 subscribers, YouTube will send us that silver plaque and we'll celebrate here on the show. Let's begin with some roster moves here. Bryce Huff, remember him? Eagles opened up his practice window, suffered a wrist injury prior to that Jaguars game during warmups in Week 9. The 2 games after that, he played with a cast on his left hand, and then the Eagles realized he's not able to play. Let's allow him to recover. So Philadelphia put him on injured reserve prior to Week 12. He has missed the designated 4 games, and now he's able to return whenever he is healthy enough to do so. And what's been crazy, this is one of the marquee free agency signings for Howie Roseman and this organization. He's been out for a month, and nobody has noticed. And Howie Roseman has had a damn good offseason, or should I say past tense, he did have a damn good offseason, and that's a big reason why Philadelphia is in the position that they are. Opportunity to get that number 1 seed in the NFC, 12-2, 10 consecutive wins, and Howie Roseman's offseason and team building, flawless. That's why he could very well be the executive of the year. Think about the moves that he's made and why the Eagles are where they are right now. It's because of Philadelphia's general manager here. Drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. He signed Zach Bond for the vet min. He's been a borderline defensive player of the year so far. Signed Saquon Barkley to a 2-year, $26 million guaranteed contract. Knocked it out of the park. He's already played above that value. Brought in Mekhi Becton, a failed tackle who's been a tremendous right guard, and brought in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But the Bryce Huff contract was not just mentioned by yours truly, and there's a reason for that, because he hasn't played well, and the Eagles gave him $34 million in guaranteed money. 3-year contract, $51 million total. That comes out to an average annual value of $17 million per year. And is there a scenario where Bryce Huff can turn the dialogue about him around? for sure. And it hasn't been all that bad when you look at some of the analytics. Are the sack numbers there? No, not when you're paying a player $17 million per season, 34 guaranteed, and he's coming off a year last year with the Jets in which he had 10. Now he only has 2.5, but he is in the green with this Pro Football Focus numbers. Overall grade of 68.9, pass rush grade of 66.4, run defense grade of 60.6, 14 pressures, 11 hurries, and 1 quarterback hit, 3 TFLs. He got off to such a slow start, started to find his groove a little bit, then suffered that injury and slid back down the depth chart. And luckily for Philadelphia, their pass rush has been very good with and without Bryce Huff producing. Josh Sweat, rebound year, leads the team with 8 sacks. Nolan Smith, monster sophomore campaign. Second on the Eagles in sacks with 5.5. Milton Williams has 5. Jalen Carter has 4.5. Brandon Graham, 3.5. Zach Ball and Nakobe Dean, they have combined for 6.5 sacks from that linebacker spot. You see Huff there at 2.5. The rookie Jalix Hunt, who's added depth to the Eagles' edge rotation, 1.5 sacks for him. And then Jordan Davis with 1. Philadelphia as a team, 10th in sacks. They have 39 team sacks as a whole. The Broncos, by the way, are number 1 in the NFL with 49, so Philadelphia 10 behind that league lead, just for some context. And what Bryce Huff coming back does give Philadelphia is more pass rush depth. And the Eagles do need that after the injury to Brandon Graham. Once he went out, we all had some questions about the lack of depth in trying to generate and apply pressure on the opposing quarterback. To be fair for Huff, I believe this has to be a part of the conversation. Vic Fangio's done a great job of maximizing players, putting them in a position to succeed, developing them, especially with some of these young players. And I think the players' ability to adapt to the scheme is a credit to the coaching. But for Bryce Huff, Vic Fangio wasn't using him the way that the Jets used him last year when he had those 10 sacks. Bryce Huff is at his best when he's in a 4-point stance. 2 feet on the ground, 2 hands on the ground, getting that fast get off. Vic Fangio is using him as a stand-up edge rusher. And then Brian Baldinger takes the tape to X and says the Eagles are utilizing him wrong. So then we start to see Bryce Huff out wide, digging deep, 2 hands, 2 feet on the grass, ready to pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. That's when he started to turn the corner a little bit. So let's be fair to Bryce Huff in this conversation. I am also curious, though, with the Eagles' pass rush producing, with this defense playing so well, how many rotational snaps will be available to Bryce Huff? We'll see when he returns. Doesn't have to be activated this week. If he's not ready to go, the likely corresponding roster move probably going to be Philadelphia waiving Charles Harris. The other Eagles roster move here, tight end Kevin Fulch, the UDFA. He has been signed right now on the active roster for Philadelphia at that tight end spot. Greg Calcaterra, CJ Uzama, EJ Jenkins, Dallas Goedert currently on IR. He can't return until at least week 18 at the earliest. And Fulch, he has been signed and released multiple times by the Eagles. They clearly like him. That's why they're bringing him back. A little bit of an insurance policy at that tight end spot. I do want to hear from you before we continue to move forward on today's show. What year did you become an Eagles fan? For me, it was 1996 after I was born in 1992. Chip, he wasn't born until 2001. So we're going to get a lot of ages and a lot of different years in the comment section. Sound off and let me know. So that's the first portion of the show. Eagles making a couple of roster moves still to come. Very interesting Eagles report from NFL insider Jay Glazer. You don't want to miss what he had to say. And stay tuned for that. But first, our sponsor for today's Philadelphia Eagles now, our friends at Game Time. It's the holiday season. It's the season of giving. Christmas is coming up. Hanukkah as well. You know it's the perfect gift? How about tickets to an Eagles game, sporting event? But also, thanks to Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to find tickets also to comedy shows, concerts, and theater events. What's awesome about the Game Time app, they give you the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Prices drop as the event gets closer. They have flash deals and zone deals, ticket insurance, the Game Time guarantee. If you find a lower price elsewhere, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I love how you can see the vantage point and the price point from your seats. For instance, You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You get the seat view, you get the aerial view as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. What time is it? You already know. It's game time. Did Big Dom DeSandro help save the season for the Philadelphia Eagles? He is in such a unique role, and I actually do believe that what he does is very important. The Eagles have credited him with helping with personnel. He was somebody in the organization because of his familiarity with New Jersey high school football that the Eagles had to bring in Corey Clement as a UDFA. Corey Clement in the Super Bowl was a big reason why Philadelphia won that game against New England in 2017. He keeps Nick Sirianni under check. He does a lot as far as player relations, and that's why the Eagles have elevated him up the totem pole within this organization, and he's so peak South Philadelphia Italian that it fits perfectly for this organization. And what Jay Glazer had to say about his involvement with the certain team meeting is certainly going to open up some eyes here. First from Jay Glazer, though. He had some intel on the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts story from last week, what was going on between the quarterback and the wide receiver, what happened during a specific meeting. Here's what Glazer had to say. The drama was way bigger outside the building than inside the building. The first team meeting after Brandon Graham said what he said, Jalen and A.J. got up there and were like, man, we're good. Just so everybody here knows, we're fine. Dapped each other up like we're good. And then Brandon Graham got up and apologized for being a distraction. Brandon's a great dude. He just spoke out of turn there. But I was told about it. It's like, this is going to galvanize us. It's going to make us better. Trust me, when this stuff happens, it turns us more to the right. We get to fight the world. And that's who they are. Eagles football is bully football, the way they get after you on defense, and certainly this offensive line, man, they just beat you down, and beat you down. I've been saying that on the show for weeks. The style of play for Philadelphia wears the opposition down throughout the course of a ball game. We had also speculated after what Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown said publicly. I think they are good. But I do think that Brandon Graham put this out there, forcing A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts to get on the same page, to address the matter for the greater good of the team. Nick Sirianni did a good job of addressing this with the team, keeping everything together, not letting this unravel. And that's why the vibes here in 2024 continue to be a lot like the vibes in 2022 and in 2017. What happened then? Eagles made it to the Super Bowl both years. They brought that Lombardi trophy back in 2017. But then there's this from Jay Glazer. The thing that nobody knows, this is a credit to Jalen Hurts. In the bye week, Brandon Graham and Big Dom went to Jalen's house and they said, hey man, we need you to kind of connect more with everybody here. As a quarterback, you kind of get lost in that. There's so much other stuff you've got to do. And he went out of his way. He met with the offensive line, connected. He met with Nick Sirianni several times, connected with him. Connected with everybody. He went out of his way, with Graham, with everybody, to connect with them more. He said, okay, I know there's more to the quarterback position than me just sitting here with the game plan and making sure I can throw here, throw there, and they all credit him with doing a great job for it. And it's just not out there how good of a job he's done to connect with his teammates. I do think there's something to be said for that. You know, last year, things got a little bit rocky, and the sea, there was some choppy waters within the Eagles Ocean, and the cruise ship, it was kind of uneven a little bit. Not quite sinking like the Titanic. Too soon? Nah, not too soon. That was a long time ago. But things were a little bit rocky, and Jalen Hurts had to do a better job of being a better leader, of bringing his teammates together. That's part of what the job entails and what the job description is for the quarterback position. And so good on Jalen Hurts if he did that. Brandon Graham did comment on this story on Instagram, and he said, lies, LOL. So who knows if all of it is true, some of it is true. I think Jay Glazer got this from a pretty good spot. I don't think that he would make this up, but who knows? Brandon Graham also went on the radio and aired out that laundry, and he had to apologize to the team. So who the hell knows at this point? Thought it was pretty cool. Wanted to pass it along because my job is to inform all of you. If you enjoyed today's show, let's do a Real One roll call. I want you to type Real One down in the comment section. As always, thank you so much for supporting the show. and we'll catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh! Dennis Designs. Dennis Designs. Dennis Designs. A $50 super chat. Big beers cheers and a let's go birds. Type your LGBs down in the comment section. It doesn't stand for let's go Brandon unless you want it to. It can stand for let's go birds right here because that's what Dennis just said. Let's go birds. Thank you, Dennis, so much for that. And let's take a new look at our super chat menu. All super chats here on the show get a shout out. Every $50 that we get, it's the Eagles chant. We owe that for Dennis. If we reach 100 total, we'll sing Fly Eagles Fly. Reach 150, we'll sing No One Likes Us, We Don't Care. If we get past 200, the new girl has to come on the show, and she has to take down this Freedom Funnel right here. This beer is cold, but it's getting warmer. The Freedom Funnel is right here. If we get to $200 in Super Chats, that's what we're doing. But since we got the 50, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Thank you so much for that, Dennis. We always like to have fun here on the show, so let's continue to keep it moving. Segment number 2 coming up just around the corner. Segment number 3 will be a mailbag. Do you want to be featured here on the show? If you do, use the hashtag Eagles or send in a super chat. Johnny Boyd, Trey, Dennis, Archive, Brian Weaver, Dan Betts. I'll type in LGB.
Let's go birds, baby.
Dennis Designs wants a beer cheer, damn it. Okay, so if we get to 200, our new hire will put the beer in the Freedom Funnel. In the meantime, I'll drink some for Dennis Designs. Here's a beer cheers for Dennis Designs. He said in the chat, big beer cheer, damn it. I got you.
We got you, Dennis. We got you.
Any compliments on the jersey, Dennis, by the way? When you wore that to the bar on Sunday. Eagles now number 24. Let us know. All right. Hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to get involved on the show. Always like to chop it up with everybody. So get those questions in. And in the meantime, we will move forward with segment number 2.
Hashtag Eagles, baby. Hashtag Eagles. Get them in right now.
You already know.
3 people right now asking a question.
Yeah.
That's my challenge to y'all. Let's go.
How many questions do we have in, Chet?
We have already 5 or 6.
Okay,
so.
good stuff.
Yeah. We're 3 of them are from Anthony Byers, though.
By the way, our poll question. Which team do you fear the most? 44% Lions, 32% Bucks, 13% Vikings, 11% Rams, Packers. So the Detroit Lions still injecting some fear into some Eagles fans. Find that interesting because they have 13 players on injured reserve, and that defense is banged up. But that offense, it's damn good. All right, coming up next, segment number 2. Let's get into it. Another loaded show coming your way on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., but before we start, you know what I need you to do. Go on down, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, you see it right there. If you want daily Philadelphia Eagles coverage, this is your go-to spot, and I'm your go-to host. We're on that road to 100,000 subscribers. We're over 95K, and I promise you, if you hit that sub button, you will not regret that decision. What we're discussing on today's show, Eagles fans getting some exciting news on Brandon Graham. There are 2 Eagles defensive players who could win Defensive Player of the Year. Considering how bad the Eagles were last year on that side of the ball, you never thought that was going to be a reality going into 2024. And I also want to talk about one under-the-radar Eagles rookie who's turning heads and nobody's talking about. But let's begin with BG, Eagles team captain, Philadelphia City legend, Eagles legend, Super Bowl 52 champion and hero. Could he return this season? Very interesting. He tore his triceps in that November Sunday Night Football game against the Los Angeles Rams. And when he suffered that injury, you're thinking, there's no way BG is going to be able to come back, especially when the injury happened. his age, being in his mid-30s, and the mileage on the tires, he underwent surgery, and at the time, he was expected to be out for the year. But he was asked this week during his radio spot on 94 WIP, where he made headlines last week, if he could return this year, and he left the door open. Seemingly, he's optimistic that if the Eagles make it to the Super Bowl, we might get to see 55 in uniform. Here's a direct quote. Anything is possible. That's how I'm going to feel. Just know that we're working, trying to see what happens. We got to get there. I guess I'll be ready to tell you when we get there. Brandon Graham, of note, has also discussed the possibility of returning next year. He had said when he signed that one-year deal with Philadelphia this past offseason, this is going to be his 15th and final season. Then he walked back on that a few months ago, and then after the injury, he left the door ajar for him to come back for a 16th year. And Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, who has done a terrific coaching job this year, one of the top overall coaching jobs in the NFL, not just head coaches or coordinators, all coaches in the NFL. He said this about BG after that injury. He was playing so well, he can't retire on an incomplete year. He pretty much said, I'm not going to let BG call it quits. We need him back in 2025. I think that he'd be down, and I think that Howie Roseman would be down, especially factoring in how this season ended. Graham, in 2024, he was playing awesome football, making impactful plays as a pass rusher and as a run defender. Overall Pro Football Focus grade of 78.6, run defense grade of 80.1, a pass rush grade of 71.8. He had 3.5 sacks, 20 pressures, 13 hurries, 3 quarterback hits on 169 pass rush snaps, and obviously his impact goes far beyond the box score. But even within the box score, sometimes his game, and I'm talking more about culture and leadership, him being a vet, but also just the way that he plays, the attention that he demands, and the plays that he can disrupt and make, even if it's not a tackle, a sack, a quarterback hit, a hurry, or a pressure, impacts the game as a whole. And luckily, even though Brandon Graham suffered that torn triceps, that injury hasn't hurt Philadelphia's defense and their pass rush too bad, because when that injury happened, I was a little bit concerned. But what have we seen? We have seen some players rebound. We've seen some players take huge leaps. And we've seen these young players really develop before our very eyes. Josh Sweat, his career high for sacks was back in 2022 when the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. He has 8. Opportunity to set a new career high. Nolan Smith, he has 5.5 sacks. What a year he's having in his second season. Milton Williams, contract year, he could get paid, and because of that, might not be able to return to Philadelphia. He has 5 sacks. That's third on the team. Jalen Carter, he gets double-teamed on the regular. Still's been able to make his way to the quarterback, 4.5, and he's been better than what his numbers show. Brandon Graham with those 3.5. So he's missed a couple of games here, yet he's still 5th on the team in sacks. Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean with 3.5 and 3 respectively. Bryce Huff, 2.5. Eagles open up his practice window on Wednesday. Jalen Hunt, a 1.5. The rookie playing good ball. And then Jordan Davis with the sack as well. Philadelphia as a team, by the way, in case you're wondering, back in 2022, they were number 1 in the league in sacks with 70. That was 15 more than any other team. Last year, they were not good as far as pressure rate, sack rate, and overall sack numbers. This year, back in the top 10. 10th to be specific among 32 teams. They have 39 team sacks. The Broncos number 1 in the league with 49. That puts that 70 number from 2022 up there as like so impressive. I mean, Denver, number 1 in the NFL with 49 sacks. They're not going to get close to the 70 sacks that Philadelphia had in 2022. Nobody came close last year either. Now, what this comes down to, in order for Brandon Graham to get back, going back to that and circling back to it, Eagles got to take care of business. And in order for Brandon Graham to return this season, the Eagles have to get to the Super Bowl. And the easiest pathway to accomplish that is if Philadelphia gets the number 1 seed. And here's how they can clinch it with 3 weeks left to go. If the Eagles win out at Washington, home against Dallas, and home against New York, that'll do them wonders. Then they'll need the Lions to lose at least 1 game at Chicago, at San Francisco, home against Minnesota. The Vikings need to lose at least 1 game. They beat Chicago on Monday night. this upcoming week at Seattle, against Green Bay, at Detroit. So the Lions, Vikings, they need to lose at least one. Philadelphia needs to win out. And that's how the Birds can have home field advantage rocking through Lincoln Financial Field. Let's get together our prayer circle. If you want BG to return and the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Don't jinx it. You better like the video right now. As for our sponsor for today's Eagles Now, we love the tush push here in the city of brotherly love, but we also love Tushy. And you can save big on Tushy right now by going to hellotushy.com/chat. Holiday season is coming up. You want the perfect gift? Is it selfish or brilliantly anti-capitalist to gift your one true love something that also benefits you? You don't want somebody to be stinky and dirty down there. When it's a bidet, everybody wins because the gift of a clean booty keeps giving for life. And I imagine that Cam Jurgens is using this, given how much Jalen Hurts is under center for that tush push. Holiday Gifting 101. Why drop 2 or 3 Benjis on a cooler that'll get used some of the time when you can spend a fraction of that cost on a bidet that your whole household will use all the time? 'Tis the season for uncomfortable family dinners. Now's the time to upgrade your only escape hatch from that table by installing a soothing, refreshing bidet in your bathroom. A household full of holiday guests is a beautiful thing until you realize they're all endlessly wiping in your bathroom. Aunt Marianne, what are you doing in there? It'll be a lot quicker of an experience if she has a bidet, and she won't stink. Give your toilet a fighting chance by installing a Tushy bidet today. If it's 95% of toilets, it's fresh as tap water, 8.5 minutes of do-it-yourself install. I'm a handyman. I put it together very quickly in less than that, and there's no outlet needed. So right now, Tushy Bidet dropping deep discounts on bidet life essentials. Give the gift of practical luxury that benefits everybody in your household. Go to hellotushy.com/chat. That's hellotushy.com/chat for the best gift this holiday season. We move forward on today's show. Could Jalen Carter or Zach Bond win Defensive Player of the Year? If Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions had stayed healthy, the award was probably his to lose. If Fred Warner didn't suffer a broken ankle in his ankle in week 4, he's played every game since then, probably would have won that award potentially. This award is up for grabs, and there's a case to be made that Jalen Carter or Zach Bond could win DPOY. First, in scouting Jalen Carter this year, Jalen Carter is a physical freak. He is a menace. He demands so much attention from the opposition. And when opposing offenses are putting their game plan together, it's getting to a point where they have to identify where number 98 is on every single snap. He bullies offensive linemen with a variety of moves, whether it's a swim move, it's a bull rush, or he's able to use his speed, agility, and explosion to split offensive linemen. He's been good against the run, excellent against the pass. He's the anchor of this Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, and I don't think the stats do him justice. His impact goes far beyond the box score. All you have to do is turn on the tape, and you are able to see that Jalen Carter is causing absolute destruction and chaos. He has emerged into one of the most dominant players in the entire National Football League, and he could go down as one of the top Eagles defensive linemen in the history of football. As for Zach Bond, one of the best value deals of Howie Roseman's career. They got him on a vet min, and along with Carter, he's been the MVP of this Eagles defense. He's making plays everywhere. He was not an off-ball coverage linebacker throughout his entire career up to this point. That's a credit to Howie Roseman. It's a credit to Vic Fangio for utilizing him in that way. But he's awesome in pass coverage, great range, great instincts, great feel. Vic Fangio uses him as a blitzer to apply pressure, uses him as a fake blitzer to try to confuse the quarterback. He's really good against the run. I mean, he just makes plays all over the yard. And we're having this conversation because ESPN, both with Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler, mentioned Carter and Bond as dark horses to win Defensive Player of the Year. Here's what Graziano had to say. My favorite sleeper, whose name is starting to come up among the top defensive players in the league, is Jalen Carter. It's probably too soon for him to win it this season, but I wouldn't be surprised if he became a fixture in these discussions in future seasons, maybe as early as next year. And then Jeremy Fowler said this about Bond. Carter is a great call. He gets constant double teams and fights through holding plays that aren't called. The Eagles have dozens of examples of that. When you get under-officiated, that means that you're a disruptor in the middle. And the Eagles have another sleeper contender, linebacker Zach Bond, who has 3.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 9 TFLs. Carter's numbers here this year, it's been awesome. Overall PFF grade, 75.9, 16th among 214 interior defensive linemen, has a pass rush grade of 83.2. That's 4th at the position. Run defense grade of 59. That's 67th. He has 11 quarterback hits. That's 4th. He has 32 hurries. That's 7th. He has 48 pressures. That's 7th. He has 5 batted passes. That's an underrated element of his game. That's 2nd. He has 722 snaps. That's 3rd. He has 4.5 sacks. That's 21st. He'd have more if he wasn't held all the time. And what about those holds? That's limited his numbers a little bit, but that speaks to his physical dominance. And then there's Zach Bond. Overall PFF grade of 89.8. That is 3rd at the linebacker spot. Coverage grade, number 1 among all linebackers. We have not seen linebacker play like this since Jeremiah Trotter. He's better than TJ Edwards was. That's 1st, 91.4. You kidding me? Good against the run, 72.5 grade there. Pass rush grade, 66.6. That's still in the green. And his sacks among off-ball linebackers, not edge rushers, 4 of them. That's 4th in the league. Let's round out with this. Jalix Hunt, the rookie out of Houston Christian, 3rd-round pick, who was a reach at the time, in my opinion, has ended up developing into a really good player. He has a lot of promise, a lot of potential, and he's really impressed me this year. He plays with speed, physicality, pursuit, and drive. In his extended debut against Baltimore, 2 tackles, a half sack, and then against Carolina, he had 4 tackles. He had a sack earlier in the year against the New York Giants. Good bend, good get off. He's made some plays against the run. He can drop back in coverage a little bit. And for him being the 94th overall pick in April's draft, he's a little bit overshadowed with how well Quinyon Mitchell has played. He's the odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year defensively. And then how good Cooper DeJean has been as one of the top slot and overall corners in the league. But look out for Jalix Hunt. As he gets more snaps and as his career progresses, he was a safety at Cornell a few years ago. So this is a developmental project who's developing very quickly and developing into a really good player. Before we dip on out of here, be sure to give me a follow. I'm on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I put out so much Eagles content here on YouTube, but also on my social media pages. Oh! Kelly Knock, a $50 super chat. And you know what we owe Kelly? Every $50 that we get. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! And then we got 2 from Brian Weaver, old school sports content creator. Brian Weaver, I love the Saquon Barkley jersey. If that's a Lito Shepherd number 26 jersey, I love that as well. And then Erica Palante. Who do you think is going to win MVP? Josh Allen. And then I think Saquon wins Offensive Player of the Year. So we have a big update here. We are at $104 in Super Chats. We have 1 segment to go. If we get to 200, the new girl has to come on. This is her punishment. And drink a Freedom Funnel here on the show. We are at $104 in Super Chats. If we get to 200, she has to come on and take down the Freedom Funnel. All right? That's what the Super Chat initiative and goal is here today. Can we get there? Let me make a deal with the people. If somebody sends in another 50, we'll bring on the new person.
Woo!
If somebody sends in another 50, we'll bring on the new person. And then, of course, we'll sing No One Likes Us, We Don't Care. And we'll sing Fly Eagles Fly, which we have to do right now, by the way.
We gotta do some singing,
because
baby.
we got over $100 thanks to Kelly Knock. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Dennis Design said, what new girl? Who's leaving? Nobody's leaving. We are expanding our studios. We're growing like crazy. Thanks to all of your support. Wouldn't be possible without all of you. And we just hired 6 new people. 6 new people. So we brought in Justin. We brought in Nick. We brought in Dylan. We brought in Jackson. We brought in Avery. And we brought in Brett. Easy money. 6 right off the dome. So if we get another 50, new girl has to come on and take down a freedom funnel. That was her pitch before we went live here. Who can make it happen? We will be doing a mailbag coming up next. Get those questions in. Hashtag Eagles, or if you send in a super chat, you'll skip the line. Like that pass at Six Flags where you get that pass and you're just like, ha, see y'all, I'm hopping in front. That's what a super chat does. Another 50, we're doing it. Awesome.
About to get into this mailbag, so last chance to get a question in. Use hashtag Eagles and ask a question in the same comment. Last opportunity to get a question in here. Shout out to all the real ones.
Let's go. Yeah, first, I want to talk about Nolan Smith, and then we'll take your questions. How sad are you about the Niners? I mean, look, largest Niners channel on YouTube, reaching millions of people every month there, millions of people here. This is my 4th season covering the Niners, and in the previous 3, they've been to 2 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. So I'm actually excited to cover that offseason, and I'm excited to continue to cover the Eagles and the entire NFL because that's the job. Segment number 3, it's coming up. Even though I just gave you 4, it's 3. Let's go. Oh! Dennis Designs! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! All right, if we get another 50 and we get to 200, all shotgun on top of the freedom funnel. All right, another 50, all shotgun on top of the freedom funnel. We'll do that after this, so hang around for some Eagles Now happy hour, and let's go. Coming up on today's edition of Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports, Chase Senior hanging out here with you. I want to talk about one Eagles player that is developing fast in year 2. And also coming up, we are going to open up the floor and take questions from our loyal subscribers and all of the real ones. Before we do that, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are approaching 100,000 subs. If you want informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking Eagles content every single day here on YouTube where you have a voice, this is the channel for you. And join the largest Eagle Nation channel on YouTube. But also, we go live every single Wednesday and for every game day. And speaking of the latter portion of that, we'll be live for Eagles Commanders and our watch party. It's getting underway 12 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, an hour before kickoff, 9 a.m. Pacific. We hope to see you there. Let's spend a few moments talking about Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith, the 30th overall pick out of Georgia in the 2023 NFL Draft, playing very, very well, especially over the last couple of weeks. And remember when Brandon Graham went out with that torn triceps? We talked about Nolan Smith here on the show and how he was going to get ample opportunities at more snaps, how he was going to have to step up, how Vic Fangio was going to have to utilize him a little bit more. And up to that point, Nolan Smith was having a really good borderline breakout year 2. But since Brandon Graham went out, the Eagles have been able to absorb the blow of losing BG, team captain, great player against the run, and with his pass rushing skills. Overall, just consummate pro and team leader with the development of Nolan Smith and, of course, some of the other young players along this Eagles defensive line. And since Brandon Graham went out, Nolan Smith has gone from 41% of the defensive snaps played weeks 1 through 12 to in the last 3 weeks, Vic Fangio has had him on the field 81% of the time. And Nolan Smith now has 5.5 sacks this season. And against Pittsburgh, he dazzled. He played a career-high 95 snaps. That can't be right. He played a career-high in snaps against Pittsburgh. That's what I do know. He had a pressure rate of 18.2. He had 1 sack and 3 additional pressures. But it's how he made his impact felt that really stood out to me, because when you saw number 3 on the field, you saw him with twitch, bend, speed, athleticism coming off that edge, but he also played with some power. He bull rushed Broderick Jones, who has so much weight on him, and that forced the Steelers to kick a field goal. That is an impact that goes beyond the stat sheet, as I like to say. And then he was able to shed some blocks in the run game for the Eagles to get some big stops against the rushing attack for Pittsburgh. And there was one play when Darnell Washington, who is a massive human being, who Nolan Smith just kind of karate chopped and threw out of the way in order to disrupt a play. I love the energy that Nolan Smith plays with, because it really is contagious. And here's what Vic Fangio had to say about Nolan Smith this year in general. He's done a good job of improving each and every day. Maybe not each and every day, but each and every week. From the start of OTAs through training camp, he's really taken it and put it on himself to improve and learn his position, learn the techniques of his position, learn the in and outs of his position. That can help make a play or two. And as we know, he's got good speed, he's a good athlete, and he's been able to amp up his physicalness to make up for his lack of size, ideal size for that position. And that's what's been so huge for him. We knew coming out of Georgia that Nolan Smith was a little bit undersized. He was in that Hassan Reddick build. He was under 240 pounds. How do you make up for it, though? Play bigger than your size, but then you win with technique, you win with twitch, you win with speed, explosiveness, and power coming off that edge. And so in that game against Pittsburgh, when he played 95% of the snaps, is what I meant to say a little bit earlier. Bad job by me. We saw pass rush. We saw him drop back in coverage. We saw run defense, and we saw a fanatical effort from him. And when you compare what he's done this year to last year, here's the side-by-side comparison. 14 games this year, 5.5 sacks, 7 TFLs, 10 quarterback hits. 17 games last year, limited snaps, 1 sack, 1 TFL, and 3 quarterback hits. I said before the year, stop panicking about Nolan Smith. He's going to be okay. The skill set is there. And it's resulted in all of these Pro Football Focus numbers right here being in the green and bordering on being very good. Overall PFF grade of 69.3, pass rush grade of 69.5, run defense grade of 65.6, 24 pressures, 15 hurries. And you can only imagine that his development should continue and his ascent should continue upward. It's a big draft pick for Howie Roseman right there. Looks as though he hit. And how about that? Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round. You build your team in the trenches. You watch the game from the sideline. What type of push are you getting? And all year, because the Eagles invest in the offensive line, they invest in the defensive line, they win at the point of attack. That can win you a lot of games. You can play bully ball against the opponent. It wins with any style. It wins in any weather. And it allows you to be a consistent winner as well. I should be a general manager. Which young player has impressed you the most this year? Share your thoughts with us down in the comment section right now. We always like to hear from you. We also love our friends at Game Time, our partner and the sponsor of today's Eagles Now. Holidays are coming up. If you want to get somebody special a great gift, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Terms apply, first purchase only, and you can get somebody who you really care about tickets to an Eagles game, a different sporting event, concert, comedy show, theater event, and a whole lot more, because it's not just an app for sporting events. I love the user experience and interface. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. The more that you wait until the start of the event, the more that prices drop. And there's the Game Time guarantee. If you find ticket prices lower elsewhere, Game Time will credit you up to 110% of the difference. So, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Eagles at Commanders this week. Cowboys, at Eagles, Giants, at Eagles to round out the regular season, and hopefully a couple of playoff games for Philadelphia at the link as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. What time is it? Game Time. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's Eagles Now. Start to take your questions here. Anthony Byers, does Bryce Huff deserve playing time, or could that mess up the current rotation? That's a really good question. Bryce Huff had his practice window opened after he had that wrist injury back a few weeks ago. He suffered that injury in warmups going into that game against Jacksonville. And this Eagles defense and this defensive line and this pass rush has been so on point, we have forgotten about Bryce Huff, who signed a $34 million contract this offseason worth $17 million per year. Now, I think that he's going to be a part of the rotation. One, because of cost. Two, I do believe there's a better player in there. But do you want to take Nolan Smith off the field, who we talked about earlier, for Bryce Huff? No, I don't think so. Do you want to spell Josh Sweat, who has a team-high 8 sacks, just to get Huff in there? No. Now, with Brandon Graham being out, you, of course, need some more depth, and that's where Huff can help you. But I also like the reps that we've seen from a player like Jalix Hunt. But Bryce Huff, his Pro Football Focus numbers are pretty good analytically. Those are all in the green right there. And I do believe that given the coaching and the maximizing of personnel by Vic Fangio, we could see Bryce Huff start to turn the corner. And hopefully that does happen, because Howie Roseman wants it for the Eagles' pocketbooks. Sava, do you think that Saquon is going to break Eric Dickerson's record? I don't think so. And Saquon right now is under pace for trying to break that record. And we talked about this the other day on the show, so just bear with me here as we bring it up. So Eric Dickerson, in 16 games, by the way, in 1984, he ran for 2,105 yards. Right now, Saquon, 285 carries, number one in the NFL, 1,688 yards, number one in the NFL. He's averaging 5.9 yards per carry, 11 touchdowns, and 120.5 rushing yards per game. That too, number one in the NFL. So he's at 1,688. He needs to get to 2,105 with 3 games left. Eagles do have Washington, bad rush defense. Dallas, up and down. Giants, maybe the worst team in the league. So if Saquon pops off a little bit, he could get there. But let's do the simple math here. Let me just say. Let me bring out my handy calculator. Great radio, great television here. Dickerson, 2,105 minus 1,688. He needs 417 rushing yards in 3 games. So that's more than 100 rushing yards, well over 100 rushing yards per game with 3 games to go. So I don't think so, but that's fine. Have him right for the playoffs. Have him right for a Super Bowl run. That's really what matters, and I still think he's going to win NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Justin Jacobson. With the Eagles' slow starts all year, how worried are you that it could come back to bite them? I am worried about that, especially if you go up against a team like Detroit, where you know that their offense isn't going to slow down and they're capable of dropping 40 or 50 on you. If the Eagles drop into a 14-0 hole against a good team when the pressure is on and the opposition is dominating time of possession, which takes drives away from Philadelphia, will they have a chance to come back? Now, they've done such a great job of that. They've done it against elite teams too. I mean, look at what they did against Baltimore. You know, the Ravens go up 10-0. Eagles defense turned it around after that fiery speech from C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They played elite. And in non-garbage time moments, they give up 3 points the rest of the way. So they're capable of having mental fortitude to be able to come back. That is a concern, though. Because let's say you go down to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That ground game's been humming over the last couple of weeks. What if the Bucs find that groove running and they just exhaust so much clock, and their defense, which has had Hurts and Sirianni's number, plays very well? Can you come back from that deficit? A team like the Rams, a team like the Packers, they can light up the scoreboard. So it was a good sign to see Philadelphia against Pittsburgh score 10 first quarter points. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Cool Reigns, thoughts on Detroit's injuries? So even before Detroit started suffering massive injury after massive injury, they now have 13 players on injured reserve. I had said, I think Philadelphia matches up well with Detroit. I think they match up even better with Detroit because that defense cannot stop anybody. Green Bay scored a lot of points on them a couple of weeks ago. And then the Buffalo Bills, I mean, they could not be stopped in that game. And you think about how multiple the Eagles are with the rushing attack. If the pass game can perform like it did against Pittsburgh, the Eagles offense, once they get moving downhill, once they win at the offensive line, difficult to stop. Anthony Byers, who do the Eagles match up against best in the AFC that are contenders other than the Steelers? We own PA. Yeah, F Pitt. Look, I mean, obviously the Eagles swept the AFC North, so they match up well with Baltimore. They match up well with Pittsburgh. Who else do they match up well against? I mean, Buffalo is going to be a hard out because Josh Allen is just playing unbelievable football. I do worry about that Bills defense, though. They gave up 44 against the Rams 2 weeks ago, and then another big spot against Detroit, well over 30 points in that game. And so I like how Philadelphia's offense could fare. The Kansas City Chiefs are so fluky. They are statistically not a great team, but they always win close games. And so they're so battle-tested and experienced and so good at head coach and quarterback, they just find a way to win. But roster-wise, Philadelphia matches up well with the team like Kansas City. And so, yeah, this is why I said earlier this week, if the Eagles don't make it to the Super Bowl, I think it's a disappointment and it's a great opportunity blown because this team is the deepest, most well-rounded, most talented, and most multiple team in the NFL. They can play a different style, in a variety of ways, and they can win a plethora of ways as well. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can be a part of our mailbags and so you can stay in the know with all things Eagles year-round. All right. So we're up to 150 in supers. Let me send a Slack here.
Dennis. Come on, Dennis.
Dennis Designs, too easy.
He said, oh, another 50 to get her in here? That's light work. That's light work. Chip, you two funnel race? I would, Dennis. I normally would, but I don't know if you can hear it. I'm a little bit under the weather.
He's been sipping tea all week.
Yeah, I haven't been feeling good all week.
Like an Englishman.
I'm going to stay away from the alcohol for right now. But, Dennis, how about this? If I'm feeling better Sunday,
yeah,
I got you.
Somebody else sends in a 50. I'll take down a shotgun. And we didn't eat a lot of lunch today. So that is going to get right to the head very quickly.
Right to the dome.
Right to the dome ski. Jay Brown, this D is not giving up 40. I think you're right. But stopping them would be difficult. All right, cuz.
Okay.
Here we go. We got to our number. The stage is yours. This is Avery. Just started, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago. Damn, time's flying.
Barely even see her.
So thanks to Dennis Designs, Kelly Knock. You're very skilled at the whole Freedom Funnel, taking it down, keg stands. We don't have a keg. We're working on it maybe. But you can take down the beer bong, or the Freedom Funnel. So appreciate Dennis and Kelly for that. Everybody type AP in the chat. Avery Pennington. AP in the building.
Don't be rusty. Don't embarrass yourself.
Type AP. Type AP.
Don't embarrass yourself now.
All right, whenever you want to take it down. It's all you.
Okay.
So America right here.
Peak America.
Let's
Damn.
go. Like it ain't nothing.
Come on.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Appreciate that. Type those APs. Avery, thank you. Way to be a good sport. And we're going to hop on out of here. That's 3 segments down. Great show. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. You're all the best. Myself and Chip, we will be back on Sunday. Eagles Commanders watch party. Eagles win, and they win the NFC East. For Chip, I'm Chase. For the Bird Gang, go Birds. We out.